Hey there, YouTube. Well-rounded prepper here. Hope you all are doing well. Today's video, and here's one of my helpers. Today's video is going to be talking about, or at least this video, I'm going to shoot a few of them today. It's going to be focusing on staying warm. I've been hearing a few other preppers that I follow talking about it. They're talking about it more in terms of like the potential for grids going down over the winter, which it happens every year. And I think I've said before in one of my videos that where we live, if a mouse farts, the power goes out here. So we lose power pretty frequently during all seasons. But staying warm is of particular interest to me. It's something near and dear to my heart. In 2019, I developed this new thing where I just have a strong intolerance for the cold. And it goes beyond that because there's times where even my internal thermostat seems to think that I'm in Antarctica, even if it's like 80 degrees. So that's something that I'm trying to work on and pinpoint the source of that. But in the meantime, staying warm has become a super important part of my life. So obviously, I think if you don't have like a generator for when the power goes out, and it's out for any extended period of time, the longer it's out, the more the temperature in the home goes down, obviously. And then whenever it does come back on, it takes a while to heat back up because it has to heat up like the inside, or like the walls have to heat up, the floors have to heat up, and they're retaining, low temperatures. So it takes time. So the best thing to do, and I've done this many times where we live, is when the power goes out and it's cold outside, the very first thing that you want to do is get things to reduce the amount of heat loss and put them in place. So draft guards at the bottom of doors. And if you don't have a draft guard or two, you can make them, or you can just throw a blanket or some pillows down there if you have enough, because you're going to need blankets to stay warm if you're just layering up and hunkering down in place. I put pillows in the windows. Our windows are, they're good. They're double paned and they're fairly well insulated. Obviously, you can get the window insulation kits, quote unquote insulation kits, which is just, it comes with something sticky, and then you apply the sheet of plastic and you use a hair dryer to pull it tight, and it helps to keep out more of the cold air. I haven't really gone that route for a long time, so I usually just throw pillows in the windows and cover them up with our curtains, which they're the thick room darkening curtains, so that adds another layer. So I cover up the door, cover up the windows. We have they're window air conditioner units, but they're in the wall, so I cover those up as well. They are covered up on the outside with the AC covers. I also cover them up on the inside with blankets. We do have a lot of blankets, again, because staying warm is something that's super important to me. So all of our blankets are washed, and they are stored in vacuum seal bags, and they're all in one place so I can easily grab them. And I do fully intend, if I can, on getting to the thrift store soon to get a few extras because it never hurts. So you want to make sure you are sealing up all the heat loss points in your home as best as you can. If it seems like it's something that's going to be ongoing for a while, obviously sealing off a particular room that is away from windows and doors as best as possible with blankets. Here's another helper. You can seal off a room And obviously, body heat is something to take into consideration, especially in a small enough space, which is why a lot of people recommend for long periods of power outages having a tent that you can put up inside a room. The smaller the space, the easier it is to heat, right? So you can seal off a room with blankets, you can put up a tent. Obviously, I think the next thing you're going to want to do is put on layers. I'm very accustomed to wearing layers, so a couple layers of socks, a couple layers of pants, a couple layers of shirt, and I have a a piece of thermal fabric. It's like 3 feet long. It was actually the remnants of thermal fabric that my mom got to make me a skirt when I was in high school, but it works so well as like a head and neck and shoulder covering, because that's where I get really, really cold. I use it all the time when I'm sick, when I just don't feel well, when I'm cold, in the wintertime. Truthfully, I'm one of those people, I don't care if I look like a bag lady as long as I'm warm. So I will look interesting, to say the least, in the winter. But having all those things clean, having them all ready to grab, knowing where they are is a point that I landed on in my first in the series of what to do, how to prep when you don't have money, is just having things cleaned and ready. So those kinds of things. I do have, we have a lot of tea lights, because I've seen that those can come in handy for heating things up. You put a few tea lights underneath a terracotta pot. It's supposed to help warm. Of course, you've got to keep the terracotta pot lifted up, but there's a lot of videos out there for other things that you can do to keep warm. Little personal heaters, kerosene heaters. You got to be careful with ventilation, of course. If we were going to be in a situation where the power was really not coming back on for a while, and we could not get out to go to, we have a family member who has like the whole house generator. If we couldn't get there and we had to just kind of hunker down in place, at some point, yeah, we're going to have to employ some of those other methods. So we do have a small stockpile of the little cylinders for fuel, so we can always use that. But so far, we've been lucky. The longest that we've been without power was a week, and truthfully, it was some of the best memories. A week in the summer and a week in the winter. We had a lot of fun. So I did figure out candles. So I have, again, a lot of sensitivities, and even the unscented candles put off, depending on the type of candle, fumes that I can't handle. I can't breathe without choking out. So we use oil lamps. As you can see, that's one of my mini oil lamps down there for lighting, which can also be set up to kind of reflect some heat. We have a cylindrical metal surround. It goes around it, and then it has a space in between the top of the cylinder and then like an overhang kind of thing. So the heat rises up and then comes out. So we can put that around a candle. We can put it around an oil lamp to kind of spread some heat around. It works really well. I think ideally I would like to have a little mini wood stove at some point. Those things are highly recommended for when people are living in tiny homes, or even I've seen people put them in campers. So those are just some ways that you can stay warm and kind of prepare your home. Reflective surfaces are great, by the way. I know on Amazon for a while, even on eBay, they sell bulk of the individual like emergency blankets, which are literally just a really thin piece of reflective plastic, essentially. But if the body heat heats up the emergency blanket and then the blanket heats up the body, it works really well. I've used one of those before. So having some of those on hand is great. And the nice thing about a lot of getting those kinds of things and hand warmers and that kind of stuff is you can stockpile them for yourself, but you can also use them in gift bags for the homeless. So we're going to be making some of those up here pretty soon, which it's nothing fancy. It's literally just a little brown paper bag that has hand warmers, water, a food bar or two, and then we may or may not put emergency blankets in there this year. It depends on if we can get some. And then if we find like gloves at the store or socks at the store, we put a pair of those in there, and then a gospel tract. So you can do all kinds of things. If you have enough for yourself, you are welcome to. It's a great idea to, share that with other people. So anyway, long story short, stay warm, prepare, get things ready now in case you lose power at some point, and just know where everything is so that you can just easily grab it, and that'll kind of drastically cut down on some stress for you. So happy prepping. God bless. Take care, and I'll see you in my next video.